So I have one of the wildest stories to tell about corporate America. Are you guys ready for this? So there's a guy that works at my office. I'm not going to go into the specificity of what I do, but let's call him Jack. That's not his real name, but let's call him Jack. And Jack is, let me give you a physical description of him. So he's about 5'8". He's balding. I think he's like half white, half Mexican maybe. Anyways, he is quite chubby, quite overweight, quite unhealthy looking. He wears glasses, and he is a very reserved and shy person. And Jack is kind of a pushover at my job. And I feel really bad for Jack. And I hate to feel bad for other people because I know it doesn't do them any favors. It doesn't do them a solid. But Jack really gets abused in the workplace because he will say yes to everything and never really defend himself. And so what happens is he lands up getting the majority of the work responsibility without even taking a spot. He doesn't really stand up for anything. And I kind of want to tell him to grow some balls and defend himself, but at the same time, he doesn't really have any people he can trust in the workspace because they kind of bully him. Like all the women there, they look down upon him. They kind of talk to him in a baby voice. They disrespect him in many regards. And, I want him to know that I'm his friend, but I don't want to come from a place of judgment and lecturing him and telling him how to be. So I just kind of do everything slowly, just very chill with Jack. Every time I talk to him, I try to be as kind as I possibly can, but he's very nervous. He's the type of person that if he has a conversation with you, he doesn't want it to last too long. So what he'll do is he'll just say, oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally, man. Yeah. And I can see through this mask. I think he is having a hard time expressing himself and trying to fit in. But I can tell that he wants to. Perhaps he's a bit on the spectrum. So I kind of explained Jack perfectly. He works all the time, very hardworking, gets the majority of the workload, definitely underpaid, is single, doesn't have the best social life, clearly. But people just put work on him. He's kind of like the dude from The Office, the guy with the stapler in The Office. That's exactly Jack. Maybe not as autistic. Jack can obviously speak English. But that's Jack. And anyways, one day, Jack is not there. And I'm surprised because Jack is usually there every single day. He's the first one to come into the office and the last one to leave. So the fact that Jack is not there that day really surprised me. So I asked my boss and I say, hey, where's Jack? And he said, hey, believe it or not, Jack took 2 weeks off. He's on vacation. And I said, that's really strange. Jack on vacation? And my boss is like, yeah, I know, right? Like, what? Jack on vacation? That just sounds strange. There's no way Jack's on vacation. And my boss was very condescending about it. I mean, he was like, Jack's a loser. Like, that guy, what is he even going to do on vacation? But it was strange that he wasn't there because usually he is the hardest working person and he's always in the office. Like, the office is his life. And I don't really think anything of it. 2 weeks goes by, and we're kind of struggling because we don't have Jack. I mean, the guy is a workhorse, never complains. 2 weeks go by, he comes back from his 2-week vacation, and he's not looking healthy. He's not looking good. His hair is oily. He clearly hasn't showered in the 2 weeks that he's been off. His glasses have dirt all over them. They're fogged up. His shirt he's not wearing the same uniform. Usually he's put together, he's quite neat and tidy, but this time he's very sloppy in his appearance. And he looks tired. He has these dark circles around his eyes, and he's clearly lost a lot of weight. And I'm starting to really worry about Jack. But I don't want to go to him and say, oh, I'm worried about you, Jack. Are you okay, Jack? Is everything okay? I don't want to be that guy. So I just let Jack be Jack. I go up to him and I say, hey man, great to have you back. How was your vacation? And he's very aggressive, like super, super aggressive. Before he's shy and timid, but this time he's quite confident actually, and he's aggressive. He wants nothing to do with anyone in the office. And keep in mind, I've always had his back. And I think he knows that because he wasn't as aggressive to me as he was, the other women in the workplace. So Jack is like this for the next 3 days. And I'm very concerned about him, but I have a lot of work to do and I'm not really thinking too much about it. I just kind of hope that he figures it out. Anyways, on the 4th day, Jack is not actually at the office. And that's unusual. I'm thinking, Jack's not at the office. Maybe he took a sick day. So I ask my boss and I say, where's Jack? And he says, that's a great question. It's 9 a.m. Jack is normally here at 8 a.m. every single day. Where's Jack? I'm going to call him, he says. He calls Jack and there is no answer. It goes straight to voicemail. So his phone is probably off. My boss says, yeah, that's really weird. I don't know where Jack is. Maybe he overslept. It happens sometimes. Maybe he overslept. Anyways, lunchtime comes by and Jack is still not there. So it seems likely that he didn't oversleep. And based on his appearance a couple days before, I think Jack is in trouble. And I don't really want to tell my boss, but I tell him anyway. I say, I think Jack's in trouble. I think there's something wrong with Jack. He's like, nah, there's nothing wrong with Jack, but I'll call him again and see what's going on with him. So he calls him, doesn't pick up again, straight to voicemail. Anyways, the end of the shift comes by. It's about 5:30. And still no sign of Jack. And a lot of people are, they're talking about it. They're like, where's Jack today? It was a difficult day. Jack wasn't here. They're only valuing Jack off his output, how much work he can create, instead of him as a person. They're not worried about his feelings or his emotions. They don't give a hell about Jack. They just care about how much work he was doing. A lot of the women at the workplace were complaining like, oh yeah, the workload is so heavy today. And I'm thinking, yeah, because Jack's not here, he does all the work. That's the harsh reality that these people in my workplace, they don't want to accept. Anyway, so I drive home, I'm on the freeway, and I'm driving on this overpass. It's a typical overpass I drive every single day. And guess whose car is parked on the side of the freeway? It's a red Jeep, an old red Jeep. And that's Jack's car. It stands out. It's very distinctive. I'm like, holy shit, that's Jack on the freeway. And I missed him the first time. So I do a U-turn. Well, I don't do a U-turn. I get off the freeway. Then I do a U-turn back onto the freeway. Then I do another U-turn and get back onto the freeway again in the first direction. And I park my car behind Jack's. And I go up to his window and I knock on it. And he's startled. He's like, oh my gosh. He was staring into space when I first saw him. But he was really startled, like he had a heart attack when I tapped on his window. And I make this gesture. I say, can you roll down your window? I say, hey, Jack, I'm worried about you. I don't know why you weren't at work. It doesn't really matter about the work. Are you okay? Can I sit in your passenger seat? I don't want to be on the side of the freeway. It's dangerous. Can we have a conversation? And he says, yeah, okay, get in. So I get in, and it's dead silence, and he's just staring into space. I mean, he is so zoned out. And I say, Jack, I hate to be a person who's kind of intruding, in your personal life, but what exactly is going on, Jack? Are you okay? And he looks to his left, he looks to his right. He's like, no, I'm not okay, man. I'm not okay. I'm feeling like I'm on the edge, man. I just feel like I'm going to lose my mind. He said he's been sitting there all day. He came early. He was going to go to work in the morning. He came early, but he decided to pull over on the side of the freeway before checking into work because he realized that he doesn't want to go to work another day. He would rather just jump in front of the traffic instead of going to work. And I'm thinking to myself, what is the best thing that I can say to him right now? And so I just keep it honest as possible. I said, Jack, why don't you jump in front of the freeway? Like, why don't you jump in front of the traffic? Why are you sitting here? Just go do it. And you're probably thinking, like, that's a very terrible thing to say to someone when they're on the edge. But I know reverse psychology. I know sometimes you have to get people out of that state of mind. And so the first thing he did was he actually was laughing his ass off. He was like, holy shit, that's the funniest thing anyone's ever said to me in the past decade. That's what he said to me. He literally said, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard in the past decade. And just the timing of it, everything, it was pretty funny at the time. And he started laughing so much to the point where he was almost crying. And he's like, man, I needed that. I said, Jack, you've shown me more right now than you've shown me in the 3 years that I've known you. You've always been a nice guy. You've always been respectful, right? But I don't know who you are. I've always tried to, be chill with you. I don't know who you are, but I saw who you are today. You're sitting in this car, and the way you laughed, I could just see that spark in your eye. I said, you're living for something, man. He said, no, honestly, I was either going to jump in front of that traffic today, or I was going to drive my car through the office. I said, Jack, you were going to murder me? He said, no, I was going to do it in the left wing. I know where your desk is. Don't worry. I got you. I said, Jack, you're a murderer. You're a fucking killer, bro. I was not expecting that. He's like, yeah, man. And also I have a crazy gun collection in my house. I'm not going to talk about that, okay? Anyways, I ask him, I say, Jack, life is pretty simple. We don't need to complicate it. Yes, your office job sucks. I understand that, man. But let's go get a burrito and talk about it. He's like, a burrito? Okay, that sounds good. So I get back in my car and I follow him to the local burrito spot. This is the spot that he wanted to go to. And we're there, and there's this girl there. This girl that he finds really attractive. It's super weird, I know. But he finds this girl really attractive. She's like this very short Mexican girl with glasses on. And she looks a bit autistic as well. I mean, I'm not disrespecting autistic people. I'm just saying, this is what she looked like. Just paint the picture in your head. She's a bit autistic. And she's Mexican. And he's like, oh, that girl's really cute. I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to go speak to her. And I said, bro, this morning you were thinking about killing yourself. You were thinking about driving your car through the office. You are so done with life. What do you have to lose? You got to go speak to that girl. Go buy her a burrito or something. He's like, nah, man, I can't do it. I'm a loser. She doesn't want me. I don't even have hair. My hairline is receding. I'm fat. I'm ugly. There's nothing going for me. And I literally grab him by his shoulders and I pick him up and I say, speak to her. And I push him to the girl. And he starts speaking to her and it's very awkward. It's super, super awkward. But I can immediately tell the girl's interested in him. She's like, oh, so what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? He's like, I really like to code and I really like to, listen to vinyl records. And she's like, no way, I like vinyl records too. Like, what's your favorite band? He's like, my favorite band, it depends, it changes all the time. But my favorite band currently is Pink Floyd because Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl is unbeatable. And she's like, get the fuck out of here. She's like, no way, that's so crazy. And she pulls out her phone and her wallpaper is Dark Side of the Moon. And I look at him in his eyes and he's got this look and I got this look and we look at each other and we connect in each other's soul. And I say, brother, this is destiny. I said, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to let you be. Enjoy your night. And I left the burrito place, right? I'm going to share part 2 later, but that's how it ended. And so I realized that sometimes The only way to save a dude is for him to get a girl. If you cannot get a woman, you kind of want to kill yourself. So the answer to life is women, and it makes sense because women are pregnant, they have babies. So life is woman. As a man, your life is a woman. All he needed was a woman. That's all he needed. And he came to work the next day and he was like a rock star. He was the VIP. Completely changed his entire identity in just one day because he was willing to go to the edge. He was willing to lose it all. And when he was ready to lose it all, he gained everything. I'm going to share part 2 later. Thanks for listening to the story.